So throughout this this webinar, just fire questions in. I'd like to make it interactive. It's the best way. I have got a slideshow. It's been a long time since I've done an online slide. Well, it hasn't actually. So, but yeah, please ask me anything. Anything goes with me. So we got Nigel. Let's have a look. Hello, Marie. Steve Bowens. Hello, mate. Good to see the text in Cornwall. Hello, mate. Hello, Nigel. So it's my first time using this webinar software. I normally use just the Zoom. So I've got a lot of tech going on. It should be all right. Let's have a look. Got the chat, Q&A, if you want to ask any Q&A. I'll give it till about 5 past and we'll crack on. I'll keep repeating myself as at the start. I think they scheduled it for half an hour. If I can get through this in half an hour, it'll be a miracle. So, hello, Heleth and Peter. I hope I've said that right, Heleth. I'm sure you'll. My pronunciation is terrible with Welsh names, but thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Hopefully, you can all see and hear at the minute. It should be me in a little square in the corner, and then we've got a presentation. And I'll start off at 5 minutes past 8. Cal Major, how we doing? Over the water. Hopefully you can see and hear me. Apparently I can promote people to, I haven't worked it out yet. Perhaps you can all have a beer at the end if I get the, if I get this to work. Yeah, Cal, we said we'd do it. We said we'd do it. I was planning to, well, not planning to do it. I was going to potentially do it in May to coincide with my son's rugby tour. And to be honest, with the weather, it would have been absolutely perfect. Albeit a few big ships and things. All right, folks. So let's. Oh, well, there he is.
Good morning. I got it to work. I won't interrupt you.
Good man, Chris. You can. I think you're another panelist, although I've got a million. I've got a million windows open. So if you can see anything, if you see anything, Chris, that I've missed, then just let me know.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit late like this. I'm without a laptop, and so I'll let you crack on, Lloydy. That's
all right, mate. All recording, all good. Okay, so let's crack this off. So that's me, and we're going to be talking about recreational. Chris, are you on mute?
I shouldn't be. Hold on. No.
All right. If you go on mute a second, and then if you need to grab me, then just unmute yourself because there was a little bit of feedback then. Cool. All right, folks. So, any questions, anytime, pop them up. I'll write them down, and my PA, Chris Ray, we'll get to them. So, this webinar, CPD session, whatever you want to call it, online workshop, is more around recreational health and fitness. I'm going to try and relate it to stand-up paddleboarding because I guess that's why you're associated with the WSA and why you're here. But I'll try and, this is more broad. So this is not race tips. This is not trying to get the best out of you in your race and all that jazz. We got people in the WSA that can do that. The Mariu's on the call. Emily King, and some of the other people who can really, you know, the people that race. This is more about your health and fitness for supping at a recreational level, and also your own recreational fitness. And we'll get through this webinar, and hopefully we'll have some questions for you to get through. So these are the organizations I'm involved in. I'm a co-owner of Anturio. I own and run Browd and Misfit Health, and I'm a trainer for the WSA. I do some paddleboarding with a paddle club around these parts in Cardiff and South Wales. I'm also an O'Shea ambassador. So I've kind of built that up from scratch. Paddleboarding about, I don't know, to be honest, a long time. Came into it through a surf route. Met Ben, met Chris, who are now good friends, and quite a few people on this call. Some of the attendees I've known through this network. So this is what I do at the minute. The slide you're seeing is the organizations I work in, spend most of my time. Bread and butter is Browd and Misfit. So Browd is Welsh for brother, and Misfit we've made over the years. So Browd does men only fitness to a degree, men's health. Misfit, women's health. They started off as two brands kind of near each other, and then after a while we thought, hang on, what are we doing? So we are one big community, but what we also do is do male only classes, group classes, indoors and outdoors. I know Cal on this call has been on been on one with us in Barry, and Andy on the call is one of our coaches. He's a SUP instructor as well, so he's involved, and Jamie is one of my clients. He's on this call. So we've built this community of men and women, and I don't know whether you can see by that slide, we do a lot of, it's based around group fitness, and it's based around fun. There's no egos, and there's no kind of pressure to do more or less, etc. So from a recreational point of view, we're a pretty good example of, I don't like the term, but normal people, okay? So I'm sure when you look at all the things on the web and social media about what you are supposed to be able to do on a SUP, and then you get on there and you're like, oh, hang on, this isn't me. So I'll hopefully help you today with some tips on maximizing your time on your SUP, which, let's be honest, for most of us isn't much. So when you want to get on there, you want to be enjoying it to the most of your to the best of your ability, so to speak. Okay. So I've got the Browd and Misfit stuff, which is the health, fitness, local. We run we did run a lot of classes a week, and then this swear word virus came in, and we've moved everything online. The other side of what I do is the stand-up paddleboarding. So Anturio is Welsh for adventurer, and that's where we've taken the adventure stuff, the recreational adventurer. So we do quite a bit of that as well. Okay, who am I? I'm 46. I know, I don't look at Chris Ray. Family of 4, which takes up all of my time, to be honest, unless it's the business. There they are there. I've had a few careers: steel worker, offshore geologist, senior project management in the corporate world. Went all the way up, had a massive meltdown, breakdown, carried on for a bit, and then thought, fuck this, I'm changing it. So I changed into running Browd and Misfit, own the business, supping, blah, blah, blah. And I've now been self-employed, well, not self-employed, but doing this now for, I can't even remember, about 4 or 5 years. All right. So let's get into less about me, and please do fire anything. So possibly you've been Googling, when you Google SUP fitness, everything's the same. It's kind of paddle, it's your core, it's your I want to take a different angle on this, because what is it? What is SUP fitness when you break it down and look at it in your lifestyle? Okay, and what is recreational fitness? And we'll come into this. And that slide is supposed to, with my warped sense of humor, is if you were going to describe what is SUP fitness to an alien, you know, it's like you try to describe fitness. What is it? So we'll hopefully break this down today, and you'll learn some things, I hope. And we'll get some questions, bits and bobs. All right. So this is a slide I use in some of the SUP fitness sessions I do, or just fitness sessions, and I see it over and over and over and over again in my work with clients, both mostly in the health and fitness world, sometimes in the SUP world. And this picture is representing how we tackle some of our challenges in fitness and most things in life. So this is almost, if your grass is long and your house is on fire, you should be putting out the fire in your house. You wouldn't mow the lawn if your house is on fire, but your grass was long. And quite often the things we focus on in fitness don't actually matter. We need to look at the bigger things that can help us, rather than the focusing on the small stuff. And this comes to your lifestyle. And, you know, where are you in your SUP journey, your fitness journey? It doesn't really matter, but where we think we should be and what we should look like sometimes isn't the reality. I'm going to put a slide up here, and I'd like you all to have a look at it. So when we think about SUP fitness and SUPing and everything else, you know, we've got this vision of, if you're not in the UK, basically all of those pictures on above the line, because we've been lucky recently, but as we know, based in the UK and Ireland and some of Northern Europe, we don't really have the opportunity to paddle around in bikinis. Well, I do on the weekend, and, you know, vests. So let me know where you think you are, your lifestyle. Where is it? Is it somewhere? Are you a professional? Now, actually, this is quite interesting, because Marie, if you're still there, you actually will be somewhere above the red line, because you actually do this, you know, professionally to a degree. And a lot of your work is done in and out of the SUP world. You get to SUP, I don't know, probably every day if you can. Whereas most of us don't. And therefore, our approach to fitness, SUP fitness and recreational fitness, should be slightly different. Because if we're focusing on getting the best, if all we're focusing on is doing a turn like this chap coming off the lip on a surf SUP, when actually we're stuck in this traffic, we're so stressed out, we've got a bad back, we're probably a bit overweight, our lifestyle is basically sitting down all the time, then top left, Gareth Stevenson, yeah, you wish you were there, but this is kind of reality of where we kind of need to check in on ourselves. And this kind of brings me to recreational fitness and SUP fitness for the recreational paddler. So if all you ever focus on is your stroke, which is fine, and everyone's obsessed with glide and what board shall I get, which is really important. But actually, if you can only last half an hour on a SUP, when you're SUPing once every 2 weeks, maybe, and you're SUPing then for what, couple of hours potentially, you know, wouldn't it be great if you could do that and then, you know, just maximize the time on your SUP? So, so where do you think you all are then, crew? Come on, give me some feedback. Where are you on the Gareth's top left? Hello, Gareth. I do know Gareth, and hello, Gareth. You do go on enough holidays to warrant that you are somewhere up there. So where do you think you are on the line? Do you think you're about halfway? Do you think you're right at the bottom? You're aiming for the dog pick, are you? Yeah, well, this is good. You aim, you know, in your stuff as well, Callaghan. You know, you do potentially get to paddle more depending on where you are. quite a lot of us are just stuck in the traffic most of the day. Not anymore. So by that slide, I was trying to depict that. Where are we? Are you a racer? Are you going to try and squeeze the last 5 to 10% out of your performance? My discussion today probably isn't for you. Go and listen to Marie or or some of the top racers, Ryan and things like that, and Steve West, who can really aim on that. If you're a recreational paddler that just wants to get a bit fitter, enjoy it a bit more because you ate too much and things like that. You probably want to feel less stiff and achy when you SUP, because when you get on the SUP, when you get on there, it's great for maybe 20 minutes and then in comes the, oh, I'm aching. Maybe you're getting injuries because, whenever you get on the SUP, potentially it's the only thing you do outside of going on your SUP. Gabby Lawson, bottom left this week. Let's have a look. Yes. Hopefully, Gabby, you've got a takeaway ice cream as well, because I'm not sure where you are in the country, but in Wales, as you can probably tell by our accent, we're still pretty locked down. So we can't really do anything yet. But yeah, so enjoy that ice cream, Gabby. So maybe the people on this call, you want to feel less fatigue and enjoy your SUP session a bit more. And this is an interesting one. I'm going to focus on this is maximize the 4% of your week on a SUP. I want you to focus on that. And recover quicker post paddle. So potentially all these things, because at the end of the day, SUP is a sport and it is a physical activity. All right. Any questions? Bottom right of the motor, yeah. I got it. Sorry, Annie. I missed some of that. So Jamie, you love Netflix and ice cream. I know that. Annie, bottom right. Let's have a look. Where was that? Bottom right. Yeah. A lot of us on the sofa. So I guess, I mean, look, we're in this pandemic in the minute, and I probably should have said, well, actually, most of us are probably in the bottom. But imagine we weren't. Imagine this had never happened. Yeah. Bottom middle traffic jam. Cool. Thanks, folks. All right. Breathe and just take another perspective. So if most of your work, most of your week is spent in an office job, most people, or even, whatever you do, you generally, and I am generalizing here, there may be some tradesmen and people who are quite active on here, but it kind of, there's some similarities in where you put your focus. Traveling to work, sitting at work, when you get home from work. So I've just done a quick kind of calculation of the average person. It's kind of quite similar. You're awake 16 hours a day. You work 8 hours. You may work more, but even it's quite hard to work for 8 hours continuously. But that's time you can't go and do whatever you want to do. You travel 1 hour. That's probably conservative for quite a few of you. So let's just say you travel an hour. Eating an hour, we all rush our food nowadays, and you just where the other hour goes, probably or 2 or more, Facebook and everything else. So that's about 11 hours sitting a day, and that's conservative. So what I'm saying here is 70% of your working week is spent sitting or really not doing much. And this is where I want to focus some of today, because I will get onto some specific fitness stuff, but when I run, so we have got most of us nowadays, we are getting bigger as a society and things like that. So most people nowadays, when they want to get fit or lose a bit of body fat, not weight, fat, they automatically look at fitness and, oh my God, it must be that I need to train 5 days a week, or I need to go running, or I need to do this. So they are cutting the grass when it's too long but actually their house is on fire. Now, if you're spending 70% of your working week sitting, right? And then you've got another big percentage, which is 30% of what else you do then. Are you above or below that line? What are you doing? And rather than making this about SUP fitness and going, oh, I need to do this paddling, I need to do all these stupid moves on SUPs with BOSU balls and all this stuff, which is, yeah, whatever you want to do. But focus on that bit, potentially. If you could walk 30 minutes a day, or 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, in your work day, you've already built up, you know, what's that mass? Well, you can do it below. You build up all that exercise, just all that goodness, where you might want to go to the gym 3 times a week, but why don't you look at this 70%? Because there's more to do in there. The 30% here is where you can do some recreational fitness, where we'll get to onto in a bit. So this is my view of what recreational fitness is. Then I'm not sure. I'd be interested to see what you all, what your views are on this. Is that how often do you get to go SUP in a week? I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, but most people are in a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. So in the summer we might get a bit more. It might be a bit less supping, paddling. So generally it's move to the weekend where you can do what you want to do, supping, and we're supposed to be talking about SUP fitness. So if you're awake 32 hours on the weekend, so 16 hours, unless you're pissed or hungover, which is quite likely, so might be less. So let's say, I don't know, maybe you go 2 hours a day, 4 hours. I think that's about reasonable. It's 12% of your awake weekend. Over the 7 days of the week, which we all run by, that's 4%. So 4%-ish of your week is actually spent on a SUP if you're a recreational supper-ish. It might be more, it might be less. But if you imagine, if you're going above that percentage much more than 25, 30%, you're not really a recreational, well, you may be a recreational, but you may be very lucky in what you do, okay? And again, that's another conversation, but most of us are going to be spending a little bit of time on our SUP. So why don't we maximize our enjoyment of it? Because it's what we love doing, or some of the things that we love doing. So you spend 96% of your life not on a SUP, of your work, of your awake, if I've done the calcs right. But you get my gist on this. So what do you think will help us improve fitness? What actually may improve your SUP fitness? So let's look at the 70%. Do you take breaks sitting down in the office? Do you just force yourself to kind of just, you know, just get up and walk around, you know, and I don't know, it's up to you. You could set an alarm, you could set all sorts of things just to not just sit there. That's something you could do just to get you. Don't forget, fitness is a holistic thing. You know, you're going to be less achy, you're going to just move more. You're going to be doing more steps just by moving because you're in 70% of that week. This is why it's quite interesting, because lots of the government strategies and health and fitness strategies, which are failing, unfortunately, about getting your steps in and your movement and things like that. They do. It is true, but we've got to translate that into our own lifestyles and break some habits that are all ingrained in ourselves. And I suspect for a lot of you, you could park further away from work. You could walk the kids to school if they're ever allowed in school. That's another debate. We could. Of course, we can change things. If you can't change something, you must live in North Korea or something like that, because you can always change. It's a choice. Also, questions we can ask ourselves, and I'm going into the wider stuff here, is what are my stress levels in my 70%, in my 30%, in my 4%. So that's in your work week, your space in your work week or your weekend where you get to do some stuff that's not work, sleep, eat, etc. So what are my stress levels in this? Because it all counts. If you're stressed, you're likely to be eating more, drinking more. You're therefore going to be putting on weight. That's therefore going to affect your fitness, not how good your paddle stroke is. Because if your paddle stroke's amazing and you're clinically obese, you ain't going anywhere. So that's another case of mowing the lawn when your house is on fire. So what are you doing with your health and fitness in your other 30% of the week? So are you doing anything? Are you? Can I ask you all, if you're still there, anyone got bored of me yet? Can I ask you if what do you do? Does anyone do anything fitness-wise throughout the week? Do you run? Do you walk? Do you swim? Let's imagine we're not in this pandemic. What do you do in your 30% of your non-working time? Do you do CrossFit? Do you do a boot camp? Do you do nothing? Do you collect stamps? You know, what fitness-wise, health and fitness, let me know what you do. It's quite interesting for me to know. Okay, Cal, biking, yoga. I've seen you, Cal, doing the yoga with your mate over there. Blakey, that's it. Yeah, he's classic. So Nigel, Jim, mountain biking, climbing. So Peter, cool. Usually run 5 times a week, go climbing and cycle. CrossFit 3 to 4, good, Chris. Normally do CrossFit. Yeah, Steve, I've seen that. Yeah. Marie, trail run. It's interesting because I think the people who have answered are already doing stuff. Joe, Jim Pilates, windsurfing. Yes, Marie, I know you. You're lucky you are. It's interesting because some of the, so I'll try and split this as well because I think there seems to be two, online, there's two streams to this. There's some of you, by the looks of it, they're already doing fitness at some degree, working around your lifestyle. So I still think that are you still recreational paddlers? Probably. You're not racers. You're not trying to get that 5%, 5% out of yourself. Let's have a look. Joe Wick's lockdown has increased my opportunities. Awesome, Kate. Yeah, kettlebells, running weights. Yeah, walking the dog, mobility. So Andy actually runs some of this stuff with me when we do some fitness stuff. So I guess the point I'm getting to is your own focus. So is there any magic bullet for improving SUP fitness when you have the lifestyle you have? Let's just take a minute for that. So we know that supping in different conditions is a mixture of skill and, let's say, fitness. So whether we're up and above the line, and I guess knowledge as well, where you put your focus is quite important. So remember, so it looks like even if some of you on here are actually doing a lot with your 30%, maybe the missing part of the puzzle to get you where you want to be, maybe in the 70% of your lifestyle. I get a lot of clients in Bride and Misfit where they come up with niggles, the usual stuff, shoulder, always lower back. I work with clients generally from, it's actually increased, it's probably 35 now. It used to be like 30 or around about then, and we've still got people there right up to 55 plus. And this is also important, folks, is that as you go through life, your fitness, there are anomalies. I know they just keep going. Your fitness has to change as well. So that's another avenue that we can't go into today. So I'm sure that some of you on this call, maybe some of you are younger, and that's great. Enjoy it. and some of you like Chris Ray are a little bit older.
Easy, Lloydy.
I know, hang on, there he is. So we've got to change our fitness. We have to. And even if some of you are doing the CrossFit, like some of you here, you know where some of you look at the younger people and you go, well, actually, yeah, that's great, but I'm not lifting that anymore. Anyway, so gone on for a bit of a tangent there, but it doesn't matter what your fitness is. If you want to improve, you may need to look at different places where you actually are focusing on. Let's have a look. Gabby. Okay, car park for this way spot, lots of walking. Yeah, cool. All right. It seems like a lot of you actually on this webinar. And Chris, Linda is on a wobble board right now. I know wobble boards. Oh, please. Anyway, if it floats your boat, fine. If it floats your boat. So it looks like a lot of you on this call actually are doing stuff in your recreational fitness as well. So maybe the whole holistic fitness thing. So Andy on this call as well as personal trainer, I'm sure that, so quite a few things I do as a personal trainer when I get a chance to spend time with a client 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, 1-to-3, is ask them questions about their lifestyle. And this normally takes about 4 weeks to understand, right, okay, where are you? And then time takes me another month, another couple of months to really understand their lifestyle. And you build up a picture of what's going on. And, where actually are they a bit out of kilter, in their fitness, in their lifestyle. And this affects that affects that. And sometimes it's not what you think. I used to have a client that used to say, oh, I'm only having a glass of wine a night. And I was like, well, that's fine. And then I was teaching this client for months and months and months. And then I got the client to photograph the wine. And lo and behold, it was, half a pint of wine. I was like, well, if you're having that a night, don't get me wrong, but that's going to affect where you're focusing your attention. So you're doing all this work, but actually on a half a pint of wine or half a bottle of wine in a glass a night, which you think is fine because it's a glass of wine. So we need to look further in all these things, but not become obsessive by it either. What colours your wee? Hydration, a classic. Most people are probably underhydrated, and I don't think I've had a proper headache for, 15 years since I stopped drinking squash. I drink squash, but not to hydrate myself. I drink tea, coffee, anything that has liquid. Beer, love beer. So ever since I learned about hydration, this is not going around obsessively carrying 2 liters of bottle, glugging it down until you need a toilet every 5 minutes. This is basically becoming a bit more hydrated. I've also, and you need to check with GPs and things like that if you're allergic to all this stuff, massive disclaimer, but I've taken a good quality multivitamin for as long as I can remember. And with our Western, whatever diet we're on, generally, we don't know if we're nutrient deficient. It's a real complicated area. So why wouldn't you take a multivitamin? Why wouldn't you? Okay, if you think you've got a great diet, that's fine and you're great. But I just think for me, it keeps the wolf away from the door. Sometimes it may keep some of my, I'm doing all right. I'm 46, I'm not perfect, way from it. But I look at it and go, well, I've done some nutritional work, qualifications and things. And one of the first things they said was multivit, fish oil, vegetables, all the things safe to take. So that's my tip that I always put my clients on. I said, are you okay to take it? Check with your GP and things that you're not, you can take things like this. If you're pregnant and all that stuff, be very careful. Don't do it. Always get advice first. But that's kind of some of the wider areas about fitness. So this brings me on to my next holistic view of fitness. And it looks like, by the looks of the those of you that are here, we're spending Linda on. Sorry, I love wobble boards. I love them. Nice photo. Yeah, well, this is interesting because this is the blueprint that I put together when I took voluntary redundancy from a big multinational firm. I was a senior project manager, kind of, doing well, managing multi-million pound projects. And when I stopped that and came into this new world, I had a bit of time to think, and I built a blueprint for living. I took a lot of sources, did a lot of reading. I read around National Geographic blue zones and how people in these blue zones lived to 100, but didn't just live to 100, but they prospered and they lived well. Interestingly, one of the things that they didn't do was any fitness. So listen to that again. So in these blue zones around the world for National Geographic, where these pockets of people live and prosper to 100, and they keep, they just keep going and they're really fit. None of them do any prescribed exercise, which I found fascinating. So some of the elements of their lifestyle was companionship, social. They had a purpose. They looked at longevity. Their fitness was actually just harvesting. They did, their lifestyle was built around adventure as such. So I brought this back to Barry Island. Yeah. So unfortunately I can't go and live in with these these people in Sardinia and Japan, where everything's, perfect. I'm living in Barry Island, Barry. Pretty cool as well. And I thought, right, okay, how can I start to do some of this stuff with some of my clients? And I think what we've been speaking about on this call so far, and we've kind of mostly focus on, is actually the body part, which is really important. However, as thankfully, which is getting a lot of attention now, which is great, is also the mind. So it's really important that we focus on our happiness, the development of our own selves, the social element. In lockdown at the minute, it's kind of interesting, isn't it, this social stuff. So these are the elements of the mind. And then I looked at the adventure part, because I think it's really important as human beings to have some adventure in your life. And it doesn't have to be these mad trips like Cal Major does. Well done. But it can just be a little trip down the river. It can just be a walk in the woods. It can be a run through the woods with a group of people. It can be just exploring a new city. It can be just anything you want. So fitness, what is fitness? What is health? I like to talk about health. And this is the blueprint of maybe some of the areas that you could focus on for your own mental fitness and physical fitness. And, we've now, with the coronavirus pandemic, almost come to appreciate this outdoors as well, which is all connected. So fitness, and this is the way that I've built these brands and how I work with my clients and work with people around fitness. I may have some people in our Bride and Misfit groups, and I'll always push them to do some paddleboarding. I'll always push them to do some adventure. We go on adventure trips. I'll always push them to do it. I'll always ask them to be open about their happiness. I'll always try and push them to develop themselves, to achieve something. I'll always encourage social interaction. I'll always try and make sure that their physical fitness is the best it can be in their current lifestyle. I'll tweak their nutrition. I'll give them some tips on nutrition rather than go, right, you've got to do this, here's a meal plan, because meal plans don't work. Bloody PTs, fucking bloody meal plans. Meal plans don't work. Anyway, enough on that. So nutrition, just change people's nutrition bit by bit, little by little, and longevity as well. These are things like yoga, stretching. As we get older, we need to look after ourselves a bit different. So this blueprint I've created, I kind of chip into this, and this is my approach to fitness. So we'll look at, for today, I'm only going to focus on the body part type, the body part, and I'm just going to go into some more specifics now around fitness, recreational. So there's lots of fads in fitness, but they're all saying the same thing. Trust me, they all come back to X, Y, Z, right? So there was a paleo movement with all the CrossFit, great. There was the Atkins diet. There was don't eat this, don't eat that. But it's all the same, all right? So aerobic, strength and conditioning, and, you know, but fitness-wise for the body. And also, obviously, I'll come into that in a minute, longevity, but fitness, aerobic or anaerobic or in between. Don't complicate it. Recreational SUP fitness. So most of us, when we say fitness, most people, okay, so I'm going to make a massive generalization now, so don't kind of message me or kind of social hate me, but most clients that I meet above the age of 35, 40, all want to do aerobic fitness, especially the women. I get a lot of women saying, if I'm not sweating, I'm not burning fat, I'm not getting fit. Same with the blokes as well. Now, I'm not saying aerobic fitness is wrong. I'm saying aerobic fitness needs to be part of your recreational fitness, all right? We've gone, in the fitness industry, everyone's focused on strength at the minute, which is great and so important. But I'm going to play this through with you. So aerobic fitness, remember this, go back. There's only so many types of fitness. Keep it basic, aerobic or strength and conditioning-ish, all right? SUP-specific, yeah, if you want to go and tie bands to things and, yeah, try doing that for the whole lockdown. Anyway, aerobic fitness. Anything you enjoy. Oh, walking, a fast walk or just a walk. Most underrated exercise in the world. Run, swim, dancing, the hokey cokey, five-side football. Anything that gets your heart rate up, improves your heart and lungs ability to cope. Consistency is key over bouts of all or nothing. Make sure you're consistent. That's also a really key thing. So I'll put that up as well. So there's a massive obsession at the minute with strength and conditioning, and it's great because we do need to keep strong as we get older. However, if I decrease someone's heart rate from 75 to 62 beats per minute, resting heart rate, all right, over a 10-year period, I've done my maths right, over a 10-year period, their heart will have saved itself 68 million beats. Boom, 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 boom. So do you reckon that could help your supping? So if your heart beats 68 million times less, I reckon you've got a better chance. So aerobic exercise is important. Strength and conditioning. So if this should really be your fundamental, but it doesn't matter as long as you're doing something. So what I focus on for some, I'm guessing that quite a lot of you don't like the conventional gym environment and you like to get outdoors. So funky chicken count, yeah. Yeah, do the funky chicken. I've seen you in those costumes, Major. Right, I was your mate, wasn't it? It was a lobster. So we're still on this fitness thing. So your fundamental really should be some sort of strength and conditioning. Now, whenever I say strength and conditioning, I bet most of the people on this call think of bodybuilders, weights, or I'm going to have to, oh God, scary. No. Just means that you've got to do something between 5 to 10 to 20 reps. That's me doing a rep. Using a resistance. That's all it is. You can do it with your own body. We use a lot of suspension trainers, and we use kettlebells, and we also use resistance bands in what we do in an outdoor environment. We do some gym work, but recreational fitness, SUP fitness, if you want to improve your SUP fitness with the 30% you've got, yeah, you need to do some strength and conditioning somehow. So Martin, I've just got body weight, yeah, blimey. So if you can do all that stuff, mate, you're doing great. So the calisthenics or whatever you can call it, That's really good stuff. So that's explosive movements, body weight. It's good stuff. You can do that. That's the best. You know, that's basically being a gymnast kind of thing, which is really, really hard. So well done there, dude. But no, it doesn't matter where you are on the scale, Martin. You may be kind of really mobile, one of these kind of bodyweight ninjas, I call them. You know, can just do pull-ups, muscle-ups, and all this stuff. Great. You're doing great. You know, good on you. In your sphere, where you are in your fitness, you probably always want to improve on stuff. I'm sure there's things that you will look to improve with your kind of thing. Even with Cal Major's funky chicken count, you know, you can look to improve your funky chicken count, maybe with some strength and conditioning, change it up a bit. So the reason I put these 3 methods of strength and conditioning using these bits of equipment is that they're quite easy. They're quite. I'm not going to recommend any providers, but you can message me or get in touch with the WSA if you want to know what we use. But basically, between these 3 things, we can move people outdoors in an environment where it's kind of great for overall fitness. If that makes sense, a recreational fitness. So if we can only spend 4% of our weeks on our SUP, if that's the ultimate goal, we love to be supping. If we can't be supping, it'd be great to be outside to do some stuff. That's great. We get the sun if it's sunny. We get the elements, so we can do some strength and conditioning outside. We can use these tools in our back garden, in our house, and we're still doing some strength and conditioning. So strength and conditioning, really important to your overall fitness. Okay, it should be part of your recreational fitness. It will improve your supping. SUP specific is where it gets quite interesting. Now we're talking recreational, so I'm not talking about the racers who will have their programs and all that stuff. So the one thing I would digging, that's good actually, Gabby, digging the allotment. I like that. But in the same thing with the digging, that's great because you're getting your heart rate up, you're getting your steps in, your movement. But digging back, so you look at that as well. But I think that having an allotment, oh wow, what a great way of kind of keeping your overall fitness and lifestyle going. Brilliant. So the one thing I would stress in SUP specific fitness is if you're in some type of program, the only thing you really can't do without equipment, unless you've got a pull-up bar and you're strong, is this pull movement, okay? So your body works in planes. It's quite basic, really, okay? You can only do so many movements in these planes of your body. Now, if you're just using your body weight, so you're doing lots of running, lots of push-ups, and lots of body weight things, squats, one thing you can't really do effectively is a pull. Now, with supping, that's quite important. You see these really good suppers, they've got a V shape with their back, and that's from pulling from the paddle, okay? Now, whatever part of the paddle, whatever, all I'm saying is that if you're just doing body weight stuff and in your regime and you want to potentially improve the quality of your supping because strength is required, then some pull work is essential in your regime. All right, that's quite important, and you can do that with suspension trainers, kettlebells. You can do it with body weight if you're clever, but the thing is with body weight and pulling is we have some methods. We can tie sheets over the door with knots and pull. We can do T-towel rows. I've got a video actually we did at Andy's house where you wrap a T-towel around a doorknob and pull. You can just hold something, a tree, and pull, but you're only going to be doing that so often. So my advice is if you want to do some pull work, get yourself a suspension trainer or a kettlebell or a dumbbell or resistance band, something where you can go like this or like this. That will improve. If you haven't got it already, you need to see then how that improves your supping just to get that base level of strength in that area. So also, we think, here's me going like this. So as we know, stand-up paddleboarding is actually quite a lot, quite a lot to do with your legs. And you are actually in a semi-squat stance-ish for a lot of the time. So quite often I see clients, they're very fast, they're joggers, they're runners, maybe they're five-side footballers. But the other thing I see from clients from when they start with me and we do functional fitness, okay, is the squat, the basic, this, getting down, sitting, up and down. Okay. Now I can guarantee, unless some of you have been trained in a CrossFit environment or a PT or a thing in boot camp environment with a good instructor, I suspect your squats can be improved. And that's another tip of where you're looking at your SUP recreational fitness. I suspect quite a lot of the racers could probably improve that as well. Looking at the squat is a fundamental movement of the body and really important. So therefore, if you improve that, you improve your supping. Some type of push work. So that's really learning to squat, push work, probably a mistake there. That's also important, pushing there. Okay, but we can do that with our own body and things like that. Involved in supping, but not as much in supping. But you need to be balanced, all right? So you can't have a massive chest and a little back, or vice versa, okay? Core work, here we go. Oh, supping in the core. So don't get obsessed by core work. I would say that if you're, I know, Linda, you were on a wobble board, right? But I would say that some core work on, this balance stuff is great. However, I would say that using a suspension trainer, doing some work that works your core, not sit-ups, not just the abs at the front, the core, the cylinder, the outer cylinder, the inner cylinder. A lot of this core work is done by functional fitness, which is basically moving your body, doing stuff because you are stabilizing yourself, whatever you're doing functionally. You're supping, you're doing this, okay? You're moving around. So if you're functionally fit, you're looking at functionality in your fitness, your core is going to be working. If you can squat properly with a bar on your back, if you're doing that stuff, your core is working overtime. No need to do sit-ups. If you're doing rows with a suspension trainer, okay? If you're doing push-ups with a suspension trainer, if you're doing push-ups, your core is working, all right? So a lot of what we do, if we do strength and conditioning, works our core anyway, all right? Okay, getting into the end now. So nutrition and longevity. There's a lot. So maybe some of you are not happy with your physical composition. Maybe that will hinder you. So fitness. Now, I can guarantee you that if you are slightly overweight and you lose the weight and get down to some a better level to where you should be, whatever, your SUP fitness will improve dramatically beyond your wildest dreams, like running. If you drop weight or drop fat, and you want to run, your running will improve phenomenally. So the only way to do that is be in a slight calorie deficit over the week. It's the only way. Doesn't matter what you think about eating. This makes that. It's all down to energy in, energy out over the week. And you just need to be on a slight deficit and you will lose fat. Take a good quality multivitamin, drink more water, eat more veg and more lean protein. Okay, most of us don't eat enough protein. So potentially some of you on this call, it could be a slight shift to look into your nutritional stuff if you're a bit more advanced. More protein, all right? You can take it to whatever level you want, all right? So, but we generally function a bit better with more protein. That doesn't mean we got to go around eating steaks and shoving ourselves full of tofu every minute of the day. It just means more protein in your diet. Six-pack will never make you as happy as a few more drinks with your mates or a takeaway with your family. That's really important as well. So you've got to realize, where do you want to go? If you want your six-pack as blokes or women, you've got to realize what's the trade-off. Are you trading this for that? And will it make you happy? Therefore, is fitness worth it? The other thing really important, and this is the most, possibly one of the most important things, and I got this from a trainer that I follow online from Cardiff, Ed Morris, or reference him there, and really enjoyed this quote. When you stop being stubborn, you start seeing results. Challenge what you believe. It isn't your hormones, body type, gender that's stopping you losing fat. So this is gained around if you want to, but if it might be something else, it might be your beliefs that are affecting your fitness. And actually, if you open up your beliefs, you may suddenly find, oh my God, I can't believe that this has improved this. It may be becoming vegan. I'm not vegan myself. It may be this, maybe that, I don't know. But open up and think, right, what am I really, can I try this? Am I being stubborn in this area? And if I stop that, will I see results in my recreational fitness, whatever level you're at? Consistency, longevity, we're going into this now. Little and often, or overall or nothing. How often do you see friends, family and mates and things like that? You know, the person that always seems to be the same size, shape, condition. If you study that person, you will notice that they always do the same things little and often. They're not all or nothing. Premiership footballers, rugby players, physical specimens, ultimate athletes. Most of them then just turn into fat middle-aged men and women. All or nothing. Whereas these other folk will just kind of go through it. Consistency, little and often. Even if you do 5 minutes, okay? Better than doing 5 minutes every day of the week than having 6 weeks off and then doing 2 hours a day for a week. Hitting 1,000 steps is also stuff I got from this chat, Ed. Really like this. It isn't difficult, and it will repay you. It will repay you more than you can imagine. More yoga, more stretching, getting up and down from your office chair, warming up when you go paddling. Ask yourselves on this call. Let me know. Last question, really. I'll open it up. Any who warms up? Who warms up before they go paddling? Come on, or surfing. Who warms up? Be honest. If anyone's still on? No. To be honest, I don't either every time. Honestly, sometimes I do. Sometimes, no. Oh, get off, Marie. You see, this is great because Marie is up there on the paddle thing. On the, which is really interesting because you've got some webinars coming up, and I know this is perfect. Yeah, I guess warming up, yeah. Yes, okay, Elif, yeah, mostly not, usually chatting. I do now. So it's a really interesting one, isn't it? Of all the stuff, none of you on here have said all I do is watch Netflix. So there's all stuff like kettlebells, running, yoga, walking, cycling, windsurfing, wobble boards, CrossFit, mountain biking. But none of us warm up. Would you do a CrossFit session, with some of the stuff you do in CrossFit without warming up? Or would the instructor shouldn't? Okay, Chris, good stuff. So it could just be a case of potentially there may be a little bit that you're getting, I don't know. If you, especially in a surfing environment, okay, and we know that you're coming out in that surfing environment, and the first wave, hopefully, if you get out the back without any smashing, is, you could really stretch. Oh, gone. Hydration also is important with that, folks, as well. So remember, if you get injured quite a bit, it might be you're kind of unhydrated. Martin, I think you're the golden child on this call. I like it. Good, nice. I like it. But yeah, that's an interesting. This is a really interesting one about how, when we study ourselves, or we get someone else to study ourselves, like a PT or someone who can ask for help. You've got all these stuff that brilliant, and then it's like these. I think Premiership footballers, a great example. Ryan Giggs, Welshman, his yoga. He attributed his longevity in his position, not to his fitness regime, although obviously it was the yoga that helped him the most. Yeah, getting into the winter wetsuit. Yeah, I know. So these are things that we can consider as well. All right. Never stop on a warm up. Foam rollers, massage balls. Some say yes, some say no. I tell you what, I was really stiff in the neck today. I haven't really done it recently, but I spent 10 minutes on a foam roller at the back with my traps. A lot of Zoom neck at the minute. Bit of my neck. Felt much better after that. Or book yourself into a massage when all this goes. I always carry 2 massage balls in my van. Yeah, I've got a VW and they sit lovely in the front of the van. So I'm always popping them in there and releasing tension in my back. Get a lot of tension in there because I'm quite big up here. Some paddlers are as well. That could be somewhere where you can improve your SUP fitness is by releasing some of your tissue. Okay, that should help. Decided you were going to start along and pulled my shoulder. Steve, yeah. Well, it sounds like, yeah, just be careful. As I say, with the yoga, good yoga teacher hopefully should, know about things like that. But, hey, sorry to hear that, mate. But yeah, foam rollers, massage balls, get yourself booked in for a massage when it all sometimes calms down. Never stop. Never stop. That doesn't mean don't relax. But what it does mean, especially when you get older, is do not just take 6 weeks off and do nothing. It's a disaster, okay? Do not take 6 weeks off. Don't take 2 weeks off doing nothing. All right, if you want a couple of days doing nothing, but I would always do something because even just moving, gentle swim on holiday, walking, we're not meant to do nothing. We do nothing, our body goes, oh, you're ready to kind of rest is rust, motion is lotion. Yes. And honestly, that's another thing as well. So be careful with that. You do need to rest. Rest could be different things for all of you, but sleep is the best supplement on the market as well. It is. I mean, we can't always get it. Active recovery, yeah, also good, Martin, as well. It's interesting for you, Martin. I think you're quite high on the fitness stuff. And with your fitness, potentially, it might be sometimes for you doing nothing. But some people, I don't do nothing well. I don't do nothing well at all. I much prefer to be doing something. So, but that's something for me to look at. Sometimes I do need to go, right. Yeah, I like that, Martin. All right, so that's me, folks. That is, it's taken some while back, actually. I love that photo. It doesn't look that high. That actually is on Pen y Fan. And I still think I hold the record for the highest SUP in South Wales. I don't know whether it's Wales. That is a small lake. And we did take the paddleboard right up to the summit as well. No one else has taken a paddleboard up to the summit of Pen y Fan that I know of. So yeah, so if you need anything more from me, just get in touch with the WSA. I've got some free lockdown resource at the minute for some of you who want a bit more guidance on the nutrition stuff. There's a few workouts on there. That's the top link there. Browd Health, you'll get there, any of those websites. Hopefully, and just fire any questions here while I'm kind of wrapping up and stuff, anything at all. But just to say, we're going to be doing, with the WSA, we're going to have, hopefully, the SUP Symposium, Synopsis Symposium, whatever you want to call it. Whoever come up with that long name needs to be shot, Chris Ray. It's in October, I think, where we get all things SUP. It'd be great. I'm probably doing some SUP fitness sessions around this kind of stuff there. I think that's in Hayling Island, can be great stuff. So if you're on this call and you want to, do some more SUP stuff, it's not just SUP, then yeah. But yeah, as I said, you can contact me via Antonio Browd Misfit anytime. This will be recorded. Thank you for your interaction. Hopefully, it's not going to solve your world, but there may have been something I said tonight that you went, okay, actually, that's Linda's now doing squats and lifting weights on your wall. I like it. Good. Good stuff, Linda. Awesome. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the share if I can find my, and there I am. Yeah, thanks, Annie. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Chris. Okay, folks, what I'll do is I will end the session. And you all stay safe right there. Keep it real. Keep it real. It's hard time. It's hard time. Cheers, gang.